The day he arrived, the whole village changed. Women rushed to sweep their compounds, men stood straighter, and children whispered his name like it carried power. Chief Adigun, the richest man anyone had ever seen. They said he owned lands beyond the river, cattle that filled valleys, and gold hidden beneath his floors. When he stepped out of his black car, silence fell. Even the wind seemed to pause. Then his eyes found me. Not a glance, not curiosity, a claim. My chest tightened, my skin grew cold. In that moment, without understanding why, I knew something was wrong. That night, my mother could not hide her excitement. She cooked more than usual, humming songs I hadn't heard since childhood. My father sat quietly, but his eyes were different, calculating, distant. "Do you know why he came?" my mother asked, smiling too much. I shook my head. "He came for you," she said. The room spun. I laughed, thinking it was a joke, but no one laughed with me. My father cleared his throat. "This is a blessing we cannot reject." Blessing. The word echoed, but it didn't feel right, because deep inside me, something whispered, "Run." The next morning, women flooded our compound. They touched my hair, my skin, my arms, as if I had already become something else. Something valuable. "You are lucky," one said. "Your life is made," another added. But their smiles didn't reach their eyes. I noticed something strange. None of them mentioned love, not once, only wealth, power, status. I sat still while they dressed me in fine wrappers and beads, but as the mirror faced me, I didn't recognize the girl staring back. She looked like someone being prepared, not for marriage, but for something else. He came again before sunset.
Thanks for watching Frankie's Stories. If you're enjoying this, help us reach more people by hitting subscribe and liking this video. Now, let's get back to the story.
This time he entered our home like he already owned it. My father greeted him with respect I had never seen before. I stood in the corner watching. Then he called my name. "Come." Not a request, a command. My legs felt heavy, but I moved, slowly, carefully. When I stood before him, he smiled, but his eyes, they were empty. "You will make a fine wife," he said. The room waited for my answer. My mother's hands trembled. My father stared hard at me, and in that moment, I chose. "No!" The word fell like thunder. Silence. No one moved, no one breathed. My mother gasped softly. My father's face darkened. Chief Adigun did not react immediately. He simply stared at me. Then slowly, he smiled. "Think carefully," he said. "I have," I replied, my voice shaking but firm. Something flickered in his eyes. Not anger, not surprise. Something worse. Recognition. As if he had been here before. As if others had said no and paid for it. When he left, the air grew heavy. And that was the moment. My family stopped seeing me as their daughter. That night, no one spoke to me. The house, once warm with laughter, turned cold like a place of mourning. My mother avoided my eyes, moving around me like I carried something dangerous. My father sat outside until late, speaking in low tones with men I could not see clearly. Even my younger siblings, who once followed me everywhere, stayed far away. I called out to my mother once. She paused but did not turn. "You don't understand," she whispered. Her voice broke, but she still walked away. And for the first time in my life, I felt completely alone. The next morning, my father called me into his room. His face was hard, unfamiliar, like I was standing before a stranger. "You will accept this marriage," he said. I shook my head slowly. "I cannot." His hand slammed the table. I flinched. "This is not about what you want," he shouted. His voice echoed through the house. "For the sake of this family, you will obey." I swallowed hard, fear rising, but something stronger held me firm. "No," I said again. His eyes burned with anger. "Then you have chosen your path," he said coldly. I didn't know then how dark that path would become. By afternoon, the whispers began. Neighbors who once greeted me warmly now looked away or stared too long. Children were called inside when I passed. It spread quickly, the girl who rejected Chief Adigun. I heard things I was never meant to hear. She has brought shame. She has angered him. This will not end well. I walked faster, my heart pounding. Something had changed beyond my home. The village itself felt different, like it was turning against me too. And deep inside, a quiet fear grew stronger. Not of the man I refused, but of what everyone else seemed to know and refused to say aloud. That evening, my mother came to me. Her eyes were red, her hands trembling. She held my face like she was trying to memorize it. "Please," she begged softly, "just accept." Tears filled her eyes. "I don't want to lose you." Her words confused me. "Lose me? I am right here," I said. She shook her head slowly. "You don't understand what is coming." Fear tightened in my chest. "Then tell me," I whispered. But she looked away. "I cannot," she said. Her silence spoke louder than any truth. And in that moment, I knew this was bigger than marriage. That night, I could not sleep. The air felt heavy, pressing down on my chest. Every sound made my heart race, the rustling leaves, the distant barking of dogs, the quiet creak of wood. Then I heard it. Voices. Soft, careful, coming from outside my window. I moved slowly, holding my breath, and peered through the crack. My father stood with two men, and my mother was there too. "We don't have much time," one man said. "She must be ready," my father replied. My heart stopped. Ready? For what? I leaned closer, straining to hear. And that was when everything changed. I pressed my ear closer to the wall, my heart pounding so loud I feared they would hear it. The men spoke in hushed tones, careful, like what they discussed was forbidden. "The night is already chosen," one said. My mother's voice trembled. "Must it be her?" Silence followed. Then my father answered, "It has always been her." My breath caught. My hands began to shake. "Once he marks her, there is no turning back," another man added. "Mark me?" My chest tightened painfully. I stepped back slowly. Whatever they were planning, it was not a marriage. It was something far worse. I couldn't sleep after that. Every shadow in my room felt alive, watching me. My thoughts raced, trying to make sense of what I heard, but nothing felt real. Always been her. Those words echoed endlessly. Why me? What did they mean? I looked at my hands, my skin, as if I would find answers written there. But there was nothing. Just me. Or so I thought. Outside, the wind howled louder than usual, rattling the windows. And for a moment, I felt something watching me. Not from outside, but from somewhere much closer. Somewhere inside the house. The next morning, I tried to leave the compound. I needed space, air, something to clear my mind. But as I reached the gate, my father's voice stopped me. "Where are you going?" I turned slowly. "Just outside," I replied. He stepped closer, blocking my path. "You will stay inside." His tone left no room for argument. "I am not a prisoner," I said quietly. His eyes hardened. "You are until this is done." My stomach dropped. Done? Before I could respond, he turned away, and just like that, the gate I had passed freely all my life became a wall. By afternoon, I noticed more changes. My windows were no longer fully open. The doors were watched. Even my movements inside the house were followed by silent eyes. My siblings avoided me completely now, except my younger sister. She stood at a distance, staring at me like she wanted to speak. "Come here," I whispered. She hesitated, then slowly walked closer. "What is happening?" I asked. Her eyes filled with fear. They said I shouldn't tell you, she murmured. Tell me anyway. She swallowed hard. They said, after tonight, her voice broke, you won't be my sister anymore. Her words hit me like a heavy stone. I grabbed her shoulders gently. What does that mean? I asked, my voice shaking. She shook her head quickly. I don't know everything, she whispered, but I heard Mama crying. She said once they give you to him, you won't come back the same. Fear spread through me like fire. Give me? I repeated. She nodded slowly. They said it's the only way to protect the family. Protect them? From what? Or from who? My hands went cold, and for the first time, I realized something terrifying. My family wasn't trying to convince me anymore. They were preparing to hand me over. That evening, they bathed me in silence. My mother and 2 elderly women poured cold water over my body, scrubbing my skin with rough leaves that stung deeply. I winced, but no one spoke. No comfort, no explanation. This is not necessary, I whispered. My mother's hands paused briefly, then continued. It must be done, one of the women said. Her voice was flat, empty. They rubbed oils into my skin, thick and heavy, with a strange smell that made my head spin. I tried to stand, to resist, but my legs felt weak. Whatever they used on me was already working. They dressed me in white cloth, wrapping it tightly around my body. It wasn't like a bride's attire. There were no colors, no beauty, no joy, just plain white, like something meant for burial. My hands trembled as I looked down at myself. Why white? I asked weakly. No one answered. My mother avoided my eyes again. Instead, one of the women placed beads around my neck, dark, dull beads that felt cold against my skin. As soon as they touched me, a sharp chill ran through my body. And for a second, I thought I heard whispers, calling my name from somewhere far away. They led me to the inner room, a place rarely used. The air inside was thick, filled with the smell of incense and something metallic.
I couldn't place. Symbols had been drawn on the floor. Strange patterns I had never seen before. My heart raced. What is this? I asked. Still, no answer. They sat me down at the center. One of the women began chanting softly. The sound made my head pound. The walls felt like they were closing in. I tried to stand again, but my body refused. My strength was fading quickly. And deep inside, something else was waking. The chanting grew louder. The air shifted, becoming heavier with each passing second. My breathing became uneven, my chest tight. Then I felt it. A sharp sting on my arm. I looked down. One of the women had cut my skin slightly. Blood slowly formed. What are you doing? I cried weakly. No one responded. Instead, they collected the blood carefully, like it was something precious. My vision blurred. The room spun. And then I heard my father's voice. Prepare her well, he said. She must be complete before he arrives. He arrives. Terror consumed me completely. The door creaked open slowly. Every sound in the room stopped. The chanting faded into silence. Even my breathing felt too loud. Then he stepped in. Chief Adigan. But something was different. The moment he entered, the air grew colder. He wasn't smiling this time. His eyes. They looked deeper. Darker. Not human. He walked toward me slowly, his steps calm, certain. I tried to move, to scream, but my body refused again. He stood over me, studying me like something he already owned. Then he spoke softly. Finally. The chosen one. My lips trembled as I tried to speak, but no words came out. Chief Adigan knelt slowly before me, his gaze fixed, unblinking. You felt it the first day, he said quietly. That is why you refused. A tear slipped down my cheek. What are you? I whispered weakly. He smiled faintly. Not what they told you. He reached out, placing a cold hand against my forehead. A sudden wave of pain shot through me. Images flashed in my mind, faces, screams, shadows. Women dressed like me. Crying. Begging. Then darkness. And silence. I gasped as the visions faded, my body shaking uncontrollably. They all said no at first, he continued calmly. My heart pounded louder. Then why? They were chosen, he interrupted. The word hit harder this time. Chosen. My mind raced. For what? I asked, my voice barely steady. He leaned closer, his eyes locking into mine. To carry what must live on. Fear tightened around my chest like chains. This is not marriage, I said slowly. He nodded once. No. The room felt smaller, suffocating. Then what is it? His smile returned. A continuation. My head spun as his words sank in. Continuation of what? My thoughts struggled to catch up. I don't understand, I said, my voice cracking. You will, he replied calmly. He stood and walked slowly around me, like I was something being examined. My power. My life. Does not end easily. A cold fear spread through me. It must be past. My breath stopped. Past. To someone strong enough to hold it. I shook my head weakly. No. No. He stopped behind me. And your blood. His voice lowered. Has been prepared for generations. My heart felt like it would burst from my chest. Prepared. I repeated. My father stepped forward then, unable to stay silent any longer. Our family made a pact long ago, he said quietly. His voice carried no emotion. No. I whispered, shaking my head. We were given protection, wealth, and survival, he continued. In return, we give one child. The room blurred as tears filled my eyes. You chose me. I cried. My mother sobbed softly behind him. It was not a choice, she said weakly. It was always you. My soul shattered in that moment. Rage and fear mixed inside me, burning through my weakness. You're lying. I shouted, my voice shaking. I am your daughter. My father looked at me, his eyes heavy. And that is why it had to be you, he said. The words cut deeper than any blade. You were born under the sign, he added. That mark you carry proves it. My body froze. Mark. I looked down at my arm, the place they had cut earlier. The blood there was no longer red. It had darkened. Almost black. And it was slowly moving. I stared at my arm in horror as the darkened blood began to shift beneath my skin, crawling like something alive. I screamed, trying to wipe it away, but it sank deeper instead. No. No. Get it out. My body trembled violently. Chief Adigan watched calmly, almost pleased. It has accepted you, he said softly. Accepted me. Panic surged through me. I tried to stand, forcing my legs to move. This time. They responded. Weak, but moving. I staggered back, breathing hard. I won't do this, I said. For the first time. I resisted. The room shifted as I stepped backward, my head spinning but my will growing stronger. Something inside me fought against whatever was taking over. You cannot stop it, Chief Adigan said calmly. Watch me, I snapped weakly. I grabbed a nearby bowl and threw it across the room. It shattered loudly, breaking the silence. Everyone froze. The chanting stopped completely. For a brief moment. There was stillness. Then something unexpected happened. The symbols on the floor flickered. Faded slightly. Chief Adigan's expression changed. Just a little. And I realized something important. He was not as untouchable as he seemed. Hope sparked inside me, small but powerful. If he could be affected, then he could be stopped. I looked around quickly, searching for anything I could use. The symbols. The markings. They were part of this. I forced my shaking body forward and dragged my foot across one of the patterns on the ground. The moment it broke. The room reacted. A loud crack echoed. The air shifted violently. Chief Adigan staggered slightly. Stop her. One of the women screamed. Hands grabbed me, trying to pull me back. But I struggled harder now. Because I finally understood. This ritual needed everything to remain perfect. I fought against their grip, my strength returning in bursts of desperation, my nails scratched, my feet kicked wildly, anything to break free. Hold her. My father shouted. But his voice no longer held control. Fear had entered it. Good. I twisted sharply and broke loose from one of the women. Then I moved faster than I thought I could. I stepped into the center again and wiped out more of the symbols with my feet. The chanting collapsed completely. A deep, unnatural sound filled the room. Chief Adigan's calm expression cracked. You foolish girl, he growled. And that was when I knew I was hurting him. The room trembled violently as more symbols broke apart beneath my feet. The candles flickered wildly, some going out completely. A dark wind rose from nowhere, circling the room like a storm trapped indoors. "Stop this now," Chief Adigan roared. But I didn't stop. I couldn't. Not anymore. I screamed as I dragged my foot across the largest marking at the center. The moment it broke, a deafening sound exploded through the room. Everyone was thrown back. My body hit the ground hard. Silence followed. Heavy. Deadly. Then slowly, I lifted my head and realized everything had changed. Dust filled the air as I slowly pushed myself up from the ground, my body aching. The room was no longer the same. The symbols were gone. The candles had burned out. And Chief Adigan, he was on his knees, breathing heavily, weakened. For the first time, he looked human. Everyone stared in shock. My father stepped back slowly, fear written clearly on his face. "What have you done?" he whispered. I looked at my trembling hands. "I chose myself," I replied. But even as I spoke, something inside me still moved. The darkness had not left. It had only changed. A strange silence followed, thick and suffocating. I could feel every heartbeat in the room, including my own, louder, heavier than before. Then I heard it again. The whisper. But this time, it was clearer. Stronger. "Finish it." I froze. The voice wasn't outside. It was inside me. I looked at Chief Adigan. He raised his head slowly, his eyes locking onto mine. And then, he smiled. Not weak. Not afraid. But satisfied. "You see now," he said softly. My chest tightened. "No," I whispered. But deep down, I understood. "You were never meant to escape," he said, his voice steady again. My heart dropped. "All you did was complete it." Confusion and fear clashed inside me. "What are you saying?" I demanded. He slowly stood to his feet, no longer struggling. "The ritual does not need submission," he said. "It needs awakening." My breath caught. "The moment you fought. The moment you broke it." His smile widened. "You accepted it fully." A sharp pain shot through my body. I cried out, collapsing to my knees. The darkness inside me surged violently. And for the first time, I felt its full power. My scream filled the room as something inside me rose completely. My veins burned, my vision darkened, and the world around me felt distant. "No. Stop it," I cried. But it didn't stop. It grew stronger. Faster. Then suddenly, everything went quiet. I stood slowly. Too calm. Too still. My breathing returned to normal. But I no longer felt like myself. I looked at my family. Their faces were filled with fear now. The same fear I once felt. Chief Adigan stepped closer, bowing his head slightly. "Welcome," he said. And in that moment, I realized the truth. I looked down at my hands one last time. They no longer trembled. The darkness had settled. Like it had always belonged there. My mother fell to her knees, crying, "My child, please." But her voice no longer reached me the same way. My father couldn't even speak. The room felt small. Weak. I turned to Chief Adigan. "No," I said calmly. His smile faded. "This ends with me." Before he could react, I stepped forward and placed my hand on his chest. The darkness surged violent. Final. His scream echoed once. Then stopped. Silence returned. And I walked away. Free.